It's 6 p.m. on Tuesday, September 6, 2022, and I hereby call this regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council to order. Could you please bow your heads for invocation by Councilman Cumberland?
Our Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, and thank you for all the blessings that you bestowed upon us. Please be with us this evening as we vote on, excuse me. Please be with us this evening as we vote on these resolutions. And please give us the knowledge and the wisdom to make the right decisions for our community. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor DeBrio.
City Clerk,
Oops. Mayor DeBrio.
here.
Councilmember Finley.
Here.
Councilmember Lisi.
Here.
Councilmember Cumberland.
Here.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Marr.
Here.
Could I get a motion to confirm the agenda?
I'll move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. All in favor? Aye. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council will be held on September 20th, 22 at 6 p.m. in City Council chambers at City Hall. The annual Paradise event will be held Saturday, September 24th on the south side by the kayak launch. Coffee with the Cop is tomorrow morning, Wednesday, September 7th, in the activity room at City Hall. It will begin at 8:30. It is sponsored by Church of 112, so please come and join us and celebrate the police, and it's a great opportunity to meet our police officers. Next, we have Mr. Troy Johnson of Butler Snow to talk to us about the GO bond.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Tonight you have a resolution on the agenda that will authorize the issuance of not to exceed $6 million in general obligation bonds. I was almost said GO bonds. And what that will do is this resolution will authorize you to issue the bonds. These bonds are, while they're general obligation bonds secured by the full faith and credit and taxing power of the city, there's no intention to raise taxes because y'all will pay for this with the use tax that you get every January and July from internet sales tax or internet use tax from the purchases online. These bonds, they're for roads, of course, roads and bridges. You can't use them for anything, the proceeds of the bonds for anything else, okay? There'll be, while the resolution itself gives you the maximum flexibility to issue bonds not to exceed 30 years, it looks like Jason Thomas and Stephen O'Mara are here from Municipal Advisors. These are roads, okay? This is asphalt. You don't need to go any further than 15 years, any further out than 15 years. Most people go 10, 12 years. Y'all are going 12 right now. And so that's what you're looking at. And so it's what'll happen is what we're here to next week, we'll approve the documents tonight, and then we'll go to the Mississippi Development Bank next week. So these bonds, you're issuing bonds, those bonds are being purchased by the Mississippi Development Bank. That gives you a lot of flexibility in how you can structure the bonds, bond payments and things like that. That'll happen next week. Once they approve the bonds, we have to go to the validation, through the validation process, which you submit all of your proceedings that y'all have done, your minutes, to a court, and you give everybody an opportunity to notice and have a notice in a hearing and say, okay, if anybody got a problem with these bonds and the process that we use, y'all come file a petition, and we'll hear about it and see whether Troy screwed up or not. Nevertheless, that should probably, today, you're looking at a month out as far as issuing bonds. And when I say issuing, closing the bonds and y'all getting the money. We'll have to get the minutes from the city, and Jeannie and her group are probably some of the state's best at getting me the information we need, and I mean that in all seriousness. But that's where we are. This resolution also approves an indenture of trust, which is the document that actually issues the bond and sets forth the specifics. It approves the form of a bond purchase agreement that y'all sell your bond to the Mississippi Development Bank, and also it approves a private placement agreement where the Mississippi Development Bank sells its bond, which the proceeds would be used to buy y'all's bonds, to the private placement agent or underwriter, which is Cruz and Associates in this instance. Jason is here, Jason Thomas again, and Stephen O'Mara. If y'all have any questions with respect to payments, interest rates, where they are, they can answer those. But I'll be glad to answer any questions otherwise.
Any questions to my left, to my right? I do have a question. Where are we with the interest rates now? I know they're creeping up, and
They have been on the short end of the scale. They've stayed relatively low. The long end scale is inverted. By scale, I mean the rate curve, so that the short end rate, say 2-year treasury, is higher than 10-year treasury. So we actually are seeing, when I last priced this, the short maturities will be at 4%, some of the long maturities will be less than 4%. But the net interest cost, the last time we built a scale, was 3.55%. That may or may not go up between now and when we issue the bonds. We'll also be looking at whether it's most advantageous to issue the bonds as a private placement or public offering. Most likely it's going to be a public offering. I mean, a private placement, that's where we're headed to. And we'll, whatever a bank will agree to do, we'll do within reason. I'm expecting a net interest cost of no higher than 4% at this point for a 12-year bond.
they're creeping up, aren't they?
They're going
That
up.
hurts.
Just-
What we size this is, based upon a certain amount of debt service, about $480,000 a year. That's how we're gonna arrive at the par value, based on the coupons that are assigned to those, individual maturity loan bonds. So that par value is gonna be somewhat less than $5 billion, not up to $6, based upon the restrictions on debt service. We're gonna try to get up as high as we can, get y'all as much as we can in terms of proceeds into the project.
Okay, so it's going to be between 5 and 6.
No, it's gonna be most likely 24.5 and 5.
Okay, okay, and that's keeping it within our internet sales tax budget.
In your internet sales tax, what the projections are now for what y'all will receive going forward.
Okay. Thank you. Any
Thank you,
other
ma'am.
questions? Okay, thank you very much. City managers report?
Yes, ma'am. The city of Diamond Head is applying for the state match grant. That's on the agenda for tonight for approval for the ARPA funds that we've already received. This additional funding will allow the city to continue with the drainage improvements throughout the city. Some of the specific projects that this grant will fund will include 3 projects on Hilo Way, the Turnberry Detention, Ahula, if I'm saying that right, and Colo Court improvements. The pond dredging, the city is asking the council on this agenda as well to approve the bid for Breakwater Marina. The bids are good for 60 days, and we have until September the 19th to approve those. So really don't have any more time to wait on that one. The East Aloha Drive project is finally paved. It was completed last week, thank goodness. The striping will occur within the next 2 weeks. And then the current fire hydrants and utilities that are out of place will be addressed in phase 2 of that project. As you said, Mayor, the Paddle Paradise event is scheduled for September the 24th. We're finishing up getting our sponsors, and the committees met the last 2+ weeks, and then we'll have one last meeting to make sure we have all the necessary preparations for that event. But it should be a great event. Registration starts at 8, and we'll start paddling at 9. There'll be a band playing and with some specials afterwards. The Blessing of the Classics, our 10th annual Blessing of the Classic will be October the 5th. The event will begin at 1, and the parade will start at 4. National Night Out, the event's been scheduled for October the 20th. We'll have 2 locations for residents to meet at. We'll do City Hall and the East Rec area. We'll have some more details coming very soon on that. And lastly, we have the Hilo Way Drainage Project. We're waiting on the contractor. to get back to us the necessary documents that we need to issue our notice to proceed.
Okay, any questions to my left?
I did not get I haven't got a update on that one. We do have payment number 2 to the contractor, so they should be doing their work. I would think right now their biggest project would be to cut the road and remove the culvert underneath it and replace it. That's probably their next big part of the project.
East Aloha looking real good.
Wonderful.
We can drive by and see us all the businesses over there.
That's good.
Any questions to my right? No? Anna, you have any questions?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. I have one. Hilo Street, did we have the pre-con yet?
No, ma'am, we have not had that. We're still waiting on the contractor to sign the documents, and as soon as they do, the engineer will get back with us and schedule a pre-con meeting on that.
And on McKeekee Drainage, did we issue a field order? Still haven't?
No, I'd have to check with the engineer on that one real quick.
Okay, to
Okay.
see where we were, because I think that was on the fence issue. Dog park trailer, when are they coming to get it?
They finally got back with us this morning, actually at 9.
Okay.
And we just got to schedule a Moss Towing to take it back there. They've got to just work out the details between the two of them, but he finally got back with us on that
Okay.
this morning.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Public agenda comments. First, we have Jacob Ainsworth.
Good evening. Jacob Ainsworth, 23275 Montebello Road, Pass Christian, Mississippi. I wanted to take a few minutes and reiterate what I said during the zoning meeting most recently. I believe that's item number 10 and 11 on the agenda tonight. There was a lot of area of Diamond Head that was not subject to original square footage requirements. It's really important that we accept the zoning's recommendation on these particular areas that were not zoned prior to, I believe it was 2012. The main reason for all of this is there have been homes already built in the majority of these areas. I closed on one last week, over 2,600 square feet. And now it's been proposed that the builder that has platted that specific subdivision is going to come in and build tract type housing. They'll tell you it's not tract housing, but you can go to any of their other communities, Ocean Springs, Gulfport, and you can see that it's tract housing. They all look the same. And then our history with housing that's around 1,300 square feet, which is what was originally proposed between 13 to 19. I visited a few of their sites and specifically kind of asked, well, you know, if I had a buyer wanting to build in Diamond Head, what are you offering? And I've been told by multiple sales associates that they're offering 2 to 3 plans. They all look the same on the outside. They're either a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom plan, or a 3-bedroom with a loft, which means the second bedroom downstairs becomes a staircase, and then upstairs they have a loft and a 3rd bedroom with a half bathroom. So really, I'm here on behalf of my clients that have bought homes, as well as my family members that have relocated to Diamond Head, friends and family, to say that this is some of the most valuable land we have left in Diamond Head. We don't want to cheapen our town by putting 1,300 square foot houses up. There's a place for it. And we have a lot of homes that are 13, 14, 1,500 square feet. But today, on some of the most prime real estate we have left, most of it's golf course, or you can see the house from the golf course through somebody else's yard. Those really need to be 18, 19, 2,000 plus square foot homes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Jonathan Hayward.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So I'm here to talk about number 10 and 11, just to give a few comments on it. So, yes, I understand about the square footages, and our builder, Elliott Homes, we are going to bring larger houses in. The problem with, and I appreciate the statement he had just made, if you drive through Diamond Lakes, we put some larger houses in, over 3,000 square feet. Those are very customized houses. Problem is, we could not get the houses to appraise. One of the houses, we had a $70,000 appraisal issue. We had to drop the price of the house. The average square foot resale in Diamond Head for the past 6 months in MLS is $147 a square foot. So when you go new construction, even our smallest house is selling at $185 a square foot. The new phase coming up that we're going to start developing, we're in agreement to maybe take the golf course lots and do 2,000 square feet. We just need to be careful, because if we go too big, the appraisers are not giving us the values for our houses. When you take a resale versus a new home, the appraisers typically will go 25, sometimes 30% over a resale. And what we currently just built with all the brick front houses in my Adrian collection, some of those are close to $500,000, and we had to drop the prices back down. One was $70,000. So we got to be careful here, because we want to build houses and improve the neighborhood, but there's also the resale value and appraisals, which is what drives the decisions that we're making here. So for the new phase coming up that's going to be talked about tonight, square footages, we're all in agreement to go 2,000 square feet, anything back into the golf course. There's a section that has a minimum 1,800 square feet non-golf course lots. That gets tough for us. We have some that go 19. The problem is the new home buyers, when they go to non-golf course lots or to non-viewed lots, there's qualifying issues. And so it's the decision, do I buy a resale or to buy the new home? And we wanted to buy resales to help the neighbor. At the same point, to get that 1,800 square foot, we're gonna push it, and we'll probably be stuck with lots, because we won't be able to sell those without the golf course lots.
Would 1,600 square feet be doable on those interior?
Possibly. I've got to go find some other plans. What we've done is, and in the minutes, there is something that says if you got more than 40 lots, you got to have more than 25, 26 elevations. We're going back to the board and redesigning our elevations to take care of that. So that was already in the HOA documents from 2012, so we have no problem with that. I'd have to look. We just get nervous on non-golf course views. Can I get it to appraise? Probably can, but then I've got to drop the price, and developing lots and building now is a lot more expensive. You know, we're doing cement board, and we're doing quartz in every sink and kitchen in the house now. We're doing all hardwoods. So our included features they're pretty nice houses, what we changed to. So you're probably not seeing that from the street when you go into the houses. It's all high quality stuff with trim work and everything. So the last thing was, on the board is, you want to see elevations, you want side and rear too. I just wanted to question why that was. I know it was more the front elevation. That was up to decide before permits to look at the side and rear elevation of the houses. I didn't know what that was. It just said that was up for discussion.
So we will discuss that when we get to
Okay.
that. But thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, can you wait till we get to it, Anna? We're going to do discussion when we get to 10 and 11. Okay. Next, we have Paulette Snyder. Paulette, is yours about an agenda item? Okay, come on, honey.
Paulette Snyder, 23103 Coelho Way. Also on 10 and 11, I do agree with what they did with zoning with increasing the square footage. The appraisals, I haven't seen that. I've been very active in the market this year, like many other years. We just had it's one of our builders here in Diamond Head, one of our local builders. It sold for $211 a square foot. The one I did before that was a larger home. It sold for $186 a square foot, and the one before that was $209 a square foot. So yes, there are some homes that do not appraise. We got to look at the homes, because this is based on individuals. So I do see the value there. Yes, we do have a harder time selling like 4,500 square feet, but homes between anywhere from 1,700 to about 3,000 square feet, they usually bring their price if they're the right home. That's it.
Thank you, Paulette. All right. Moving on to the minutes. Could I get a motion to approve the August 16th, 2022 regular meeting minutes?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Cumberland. Could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Clark. All in favor? Aye.
Mayor, I want to do a roll call since we've
Oh,
got some
sorry.
info.
Anna, we got to do a roll call because you're on the phone. That's okay, honey. Can you hear us?
We'll put the mic on.
I turned it up.
You what?
I had to turn her down because there was a lot of
Okay, thanks.
noise a minute ago.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Anna?
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
and Mayor.
Yes.
She can hear you, she's just on a little delay. You're gonna have to give her a couple.
Oh, okay.
And she may have it on mute as well. I do that when I'm on the
Yeah.
phone, just to make sure
Just
there's
give
no
her- give her
background
2 or 3
noise.
seconds.
So, moving to tabled items. Could I get a motion to move off the table 2022-265?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. City Clerk?
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes. Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Could I get a motion to award bids received for the Lily Pond and Diamond Head Drive East Pond to Breakwater Marine in the amount of $539,837 and authorize the city manager to execute contract for the same and to issue the notice to proceed as appropriate?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Marr. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? I'm excited to, do have a question. I'm excited to finally see this moving forward. So we should see work within 60 days. Yes, we've been waiting so long for this. Okay. City Clerk?
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Anna?
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Ordinances. Ordinance 2022-301, motion to adopt ordinance 2023-001, implementing from an effective date of January 1st, 2023, pursuant to 453917, a $2 surcharge on each person upon whom a municipal court imposes a fine or other penalty for a misdemeanor other than offenses relating to a vehicular parking or registration. Said funding to be deposited with the Department of Public Safety and support the Mississippi Coast Crime Stoppers and for other related purposes. Could I get a motion? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? And this is a very good thing to do. I like that. Okay.
Been okay with more than $2.
I know. We just have to collect it. City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Anna?
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2022-287, motion to adopt resolution 2022-058, thereby approving and adopting the FY23 budget and finally determined by the mayor and council. Could I get a motion? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2022-288, motion to adopt resolution 2022-059, thereby setting the tax levy for FY23 for the city of Diamond Head at the millage rate of 29.5 mils. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Marr. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? And the mill value came in from Mr. Jimmy Ladner at 102. 101 was close to 102. And this is no increase in taxes, Diamond Head. We have something to celebrate today. City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2022-297, motion to adopt Resolution 2022-060, thereby authorizing city manager of the city of Diamond Head to be the signatory for documents approved by the council.
Move.
Could I get a motion? Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? And I thought he already was.
Me too.
We all did. Okay. It's official. All right. Okay. City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi, Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2022-294, motion to adopt Resolution 2022-262, thereby appointing donation tract D, Unit 5, Phase 2 with an estimated, whoops, I missed one. Motion to adopt Resolution 2022-061, thereby accepting the donation of real property, Lot 8, Block 7, Unit 1, Phase 1, with the estimated value of $15,000 from Susan Rogers for drainage and/or green space purposes. Could I get a motion? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Motion, Resolution 2022-294, motion to adopt Resolution 2022-262, thereby accepting the donation of Tract D, Unit 5, Phase 2, with an estimated value of $625 from the Diamond Head Country Club and Property Owners Association. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Cumberland. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? And-
Yes. John, will you tell us what that lot is?
Mr. Miller.
That is Diamond Head Drive East, where the pond, half of the pond is located at. So we'll take ownership of that and be able to maintain that.
Thank you.
It's the Miller Pond, so this will be
Correct.
great to have it.
Correct.
All right, City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2022-302, motion to adopt Resolution 2022-063, thereby authorizing the sale and issuance of the City of Diamond Head, Mississippi General Obligation Bond Series 2022 Capital Improvements Project and a principal amount not to exceed $6 million, prescribing from the form of details of the city bond and directing the preparation, execution, and delivery thereof, providing certain covenants of the city in connection with the city bond, authorizing the sale of the city bond to the Mississippi Development Bank, authorizing and approving the form and execution and delivery of the city bond purchase agreement in connection with the sale of the city bond, appointing a paying and transferring agent for the city bond, approving the form of trust, indenture in connection with the city bond, and not to exceed $6 million Mississippi Bank Special Obligation Bond. Series 2022 City of Diamond Head General Obligation Bond, Series 2022 Capital Improvements Project, the bank bonds. Authorizing and approving the form of and the execution and delivery of a private placement agreement and certain other documents in connection with said bank bonds and city bonds and other related purposes. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Marr. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? And I know legal, you have checked this thoroughly because I started reading it and I was like, no. Mm-mm.
I glazed over too about halfway through, so that's why I'm glad Troy's name's on this one.
Okay, Troy, we feel good about all this. Okay. City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Mar.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2022-306, motion to adopt Resolution 2022-064 to approve text amendments in accordance with the zoning ordinance Article 2.8, amendment rezoning procedure. The proposed text amendment will change Article 12.8.1, architectural capability, and to add subsection D, Any developer, builder, and/or person who develops plat subdivisions shall submit the facade elevations for all sides of the structures depicting the above building design listed in items 12.8, 12.8, and 1C. This information shall be submitted before any building permits are reviewed and issued. Based on the number of proposed plat lots, the developer, builder, and/or person shall submit the minimum number of required different facades in sufficient detail to determine capability with the surrounding neighborhood. Number of lots 1 through 10, required facades is 5. Number of lots 11 through 20, required facades is 10. Number of lots 21 through, that should be 30. Yes, it's 30. Required facades 15. Number of lots 31 through 40, required facades 20. And number of lots 40 plus, required facades 25. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Moore. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion?
I just wanted to say that I went to the planning and zoning and listened to this, so I think that they had a well-thought-out discussion, and I do agree with this coming to us as it is.
Any discussion to my right? All right, I do want to ask the building department, are y'all okay with this? Because, and I'll admit the facades was something that I spoke to the city engineer and the city manager out about, because it was something I thought we needed to do and not have all, but I didn't mean to make turmoil. So is there something we need to fix here, or do you feel?
Yes, Mayor, there is.
Okay.
And good evening, council.
Good evening.
And this is Pat Rich with the Planning and Zoning Commission?
That's correct. We need to add, this is a messy ordinance here we want to accomplish the same things, but there's some other issues here where we've got, a developer may come in and build 5 houses in their development and sell the rest of the lots. Well, how can he come up with, if he's got 40 lots, how can he come up with 25 plans when he doesn't ever plan to build those? And if he's going to sell his other lots, and then the individuals will come in, they'll present their own plans. So there's some issues that we need to clean up. We've been working with legal counsel and also with the developers to come up with a better way to phrase this to accomplish the same things. I want to assure you that, first of all, under the existing ordinances we have now with architectural compatibility, we're able to accomplish what we want to accomplish, what y'all want us to accomplish, to keep the character of the houses in Diamond Head. So we'll be able to do it with the existing ordinance. This will add a continuous, if we change personnel, et cetera, is in writing. So it's not up to whoever happens to be in the office at the moment as to what we do. It'll be in writing. So what staff recommends is that you send this back to planning and zoning so we can articulate this in the ordinance. The number of plans or facade plans per number of houses is a little unwieldy there. We're thinking more about going across, diagonal, adjoining, those type of issues there.
And right now, it's 50-50 ratio.
That's correct, until you get over 40.
Okay, so
So-
we can just let this die and it'll go back to planning?
No, I'd recommend, if you all want to take that recommendation of Pat, that you all transfer it back to planning and zoning, because it originated here. They have made a recommendation, but as Pat said, we've gotten some really good comments since then, and I think we can clean it up a little bit. So I'd recommend, if you all want to accept his recommendation, to actually transfer it back to P&Z.
Okay, can I get someone to, and who made the motion? Do you want to rescind the motion you made and we can make a new motion?
Yeah, I'll rescind the motion to
That
a
you just
motion
made?
that it be amended to be sent back to the planning and zoning. rescind and amend, can I do
Okay.
that?
So we got a motion to rescind the motion previously made
can
and
I-
to amend.
Can I add to it that instead of waiting a full month, that there be a special planning and zoning meeting to get this before the next city council meeting? That it meets sometime between now and the next city council meeting, instead of waiting a month and then 6 weeks for us to hear it?
I understand your urgency. I really want to reassure you again that what we have right now will take care of the problems that you have expressed for phase one in both projects that we have. And it's not going to make any difference whether it's 6 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now. It'll still be it doesn't make any difference.
And I can reiterate that, and another thing that we've got to consider is just making sure, because we're going to have another public hearing at the planning and zoning level, so we need the time to advertise that, make sure we get full participation. And I'll say we had great participation at the meeting that we had last month. I would invite the developers to be at this meeting as well, at the Planning and Zoning Commission that we're going to have at the end of this month. And that means if they do take action at the first meeting in October, it will be back before you all. So you're only going to miss one meeting.
And we're not up against a timeline because phase one of both phases do not fall under this.
Well, they
do
And
under
the
under the
architect-
existing
under the
ordinance.
They
Yes.
follow the
You
existing
will-
ordinance. Correct.
It's
Okay.
not time sensitive because we can handle things the way they are. What we want to do is put it in writing to make sure that there's no ambiguity there, that we can go back and say, here it is in writing. With the other ordinance, a concern expressed to us was, okay, I understand you guys, and you guys are saying this, and we're all for this, blah, 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 but what happens if you're replaced tomorrow? And is it going to be in the opinion of? We want to wipe out in the opinion of and put words in there that mean something.
I agree, it needs a little.
It's fine. Okay, thank you. Derek, can you hear me? I just had a question. Does this have to go all the way back? I'm all for clearing up the language. I agree that it sounds like everyone understands the intent and we want to keep that the same. Does it have planning and zoning, or can y'all just clean up the language and send us at the next council meeting?
That is another option if you guys want to do it.
Yes.
And we have some proposed language, we just need to tweak it and finalize it, but if you guys would rather that, we could have it to you at the next meeting, which accomplishes essentially the same thing that what they were trying to accomplish. It just has some tweaks in the wording that makes it work for the developers as well.
I'd be willing to do that with my amendment,
Yeah.
that it just get tweaked by city council, and, I mean, the city attorney in conjunction with planning and zoning people to clean it up so that it's the same spirit of what's presented to us, but now it will be with better legibility for all people in all times. So my amendment is to table this till the next city council meeting with amended wording. Rescind and table.
Okay. Could I get a motion? Well, we have a motion on the table. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Finley, City Clerk.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you.
Good job, Ann.
Could I get a motion? Resolution 2022-307, motion to adopt Resolution 2022-065 to approve text amendment in the ordinance, accordance with the zoning ordinance, Article 2.8, amendment rezoning procedure. The proposed text map amendment would set the minimum square footage for residential structures for selected areas that were established with the zoning ordinance, which was adopted on October 15th, 2012. The case file number is 2022-00361. Can I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Cumberland. Could I get a second?
Second.
Who's second? Oh, I need to, okay. Councilman Finley? So let's have discussion started, and I'm going to ask Mr. Pat Rich to come back up.
I'm on the hot chair tonight. Okay, this all started when we discovered we had plats going in for the inner circle of Diamond Head. What we call the inner circle is that Diamond Head Drive loops around the city, so anything inside that, we call that the inner circle. And there were large areas of land there that in the minimum square footage requirement map that was adopted in 2012, they did not include those areas in the minimum square footage. So we had some catching up to do, and so we came to the council. The council approved us to have hearings to go ahead and do that. Then we put together a proposal, recommended to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they amended it to what they wanted it to be, and that is what is being presented tonight. Up on the board up here, we have on your left-hand side, we have what the 2012 version is, in which we are under until we pass something else. On the right, we have, and there was some confusion here, and I apologize for that. I sent out a wrong map, all right? So, but John straightened me out on that, so I've got it, the right map up there now. What we've got is the inner circle there, those areas. And basically, what the planning commissioners wanted was anything in these areas that were on the golf course, any lots on the golf course, would be 2,000 square foot minimum. A house 2,000 square foot minimum. And anything off of the golf course would be, or behind the golf course, or not directly on the golf course, would be 1,800 square feet minimum. And that's what you have before you tonight in this.
Are some of those, and I guess my question is, and I hear tonight 2,000 isn't an issue, and I thought it was an issue for all the lots on the golf course. So 2,000 seems to be okay with the builders. I mean, I heard Elliot come up and say that it was okay. It's the interior lots that we're worried about. And this is zone R2,
These are zoned, yes, these are zoned R2.
which the minimum square footage on an R2 is 6,000.
6,000 square foot lot size.
Are the ones along the golf course R1s 10,000 minimum? Do we have some that are R2s?
All the ones that we are changing to are all R2s along the golf course. Those areas were rezoned from R1 to R2, if my memory serves correctly.
I'm okay with the 2,000.
Maybe 16 on the interior?
Yeah.
Could we modify this 18 to 16 for the interior?
Yes, you can modify, you can deny, you can send it back to planning and zoning, or you can pass it.
It's a lot of options. Can we
Well, I
have
like to
it?
give you options.
I feel overwhelmed.
Pat loves options.
I would have to say that I would be wanting to keep it at the 1,800, and I think the discussions that were brought up at the planning and zoning, in that people from Stennis and people like that, there's only a limited supply of land, and what we want to build is houses that will attract some of the mid-level executives from Stennis, and they're not looking for smaller homes. They're looking for bigger homes. And I think that this prime property shouldn't be sold out to be just small homes, just to fit homes in. We should be using this prime property to make prime houses to attract these people here, rather than to the North Shore of Louisiana, where a lot of them are going now, because they can't find enough in Diamond Head. So I would be unwilling to say, let's change it to 1,600. I say let's keep the recommendation of the planning and zoning at 1,800 for the interior lots not on the golf course and 2,000 for the golf course size lots.
You're talking about heating and cool, right?
I'm talking about just the building structure.
Okay, that. if you're
Heating,
talking about
heating,
cool,
heating and
it's-
cooled, right.
Right.
So,
The minimum square footage is heating and cool. Doesn't include the garage.
so you're looking at,
I have a question.
Okay, give me 1 second. Councilman Clark,
go ahead.
were you? Okay. Go ahead, Anna.
Okay, thanks. Okay, I take exception with the not being get appraisals for those non-golf course. Recent statistics for Elliott Home Sale Diamond Head Lakes don't show that at all. I mean, 148,000 square foot might be true across the board, but if you look at the last sales for the summer in Diamond Head Lakes, at least the ones that were reported in MLS, they're all at or off a square foot, or almost 200, and they got well over price. So buying that they are not making money. 103.92 a square foot price value, and they got over $140 a square foot actual. That one that's almost $198 a square foot got $211 a closing price. Another $206 a square foot, and these are all for homes that are inside, not on the golf. So if the argument is the reason we've got to tear down our suggestions because they're not appraising, I'm not seeing it. And I agree with Gerard, and second what he's saying, that I just think 1,800 square feet is not unreasonable, and these are the last areas of Diamond Head that are going to be developed. And if we don't get this right, and make Diamond Head the community that we want it to be, this is the last chance to do it. We need to raise the bar, and I feel very strongly about it.
Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman Clark?
I was just looking at 1,800 square foot house, like say if it's just me and my wife moving into it, that's a big house for just me and her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my kids are grown and have their own kids, and I just, a 1,700 square foot house, or even 16, would be suffice for me and my wife. There's a lot of older people here in Diamond Head, and that don't need a 1,800, 2,000 square foot a house either. So I was just, kind of looking at 1,700 would be okay with me. Just kind of look at it at a different.
Now there's another option, Chuck. Thank you.
I'm just
I'm
throwing
feeling the
that out there.
17. Okay, any discussion to my right?
Yeah. So Fairway Drive is all 2,000 square feet, and then if you go a little north of that, you got Glen Eagle. All the golf course looks like that's all 2,000 square feet with a lot of 1,800 right in the middle. And then above that is an area we're talking about, which on a lot of old maps was Glen Eagle Phase 2, if you've ever seen that. But that looks consistent with what we have in that area. So I don't know why we would do anything any different. I like that map. I'm with Gerard. I think it's perfect. You guys did a great job. The planning and zoning did a good job. I don't know why we would change it.
Okay, Councilman Finley? Okay, am I only?
We're
Mhm.
so close, even Elliot came up and said the 2,000 on the golf course was close enough for him. Was good enough for them, and I think it's good enough for anyone. 1,700, 1,800. I'm not gonna, at this point, I don't wanna go against what planning and zoning came up with, so I'm okay with it. Do clarify that 1,700 wasn't one of the interior lots.
Yeah,
That was a golf course lot.
1,700 on the interior
Yeah,
lots is
I'm
what
fine with
Councilman
1,800
Clark.
on the-
And I
others
guess
as well.
my thoughts on this is, Glen Eagle is not R2, it's R1. It's big lots. It's very big lots. So 2,000 square feet, the house looks fine, and I would want everything to be 3,000 square foot, but that's me. I'm sorry. I mean, I would want 3 and 4. But I'm being realistic here, and a R2 lot is little. I don't know how to tell y'all this, but it's 60 by 100. It's very small. It's a baby. I don't want to, I didn't want to see the same facade 50 times. You know, that really bothered me. I don't want to see a 60-foot lot mandated to have a big house on it, and then we have a house 10 feet, a house 10 feet. I don't want them where it looks like there's no green space. We're stuck on this lot, and it's all house. And we've changed the impervious, you know, it's solid concrete on the lot. I don't want to I'm willing to bend to 17, but I'd be even happier with 16 on those interiors so that we don't look like you've got a row of houses sitting side by side by side by side by side. And I've seen them done that way.
How big are those lots on Diamond Head Lakes that they've built already?
Big. They were not,
Those
they were
lots are
not
big?
R2. They were 80, 90, 100 feet wide. These are little lots. Mm-hmm.
Couldn't they make up some of the extra square foot of the bonus ring, or they have to spread out, can't they go up?
They could be skinny and up, and I don't know how nice that would look either. You know, you don't want to see, because 60 feet's so narrow, you don't want to see a house, then the 10-foot setback, 10-foot setback on a house. And we've got an example of that in Diamond Head. You know, we've got it in a few spots, not many. You want to have room between the homes, and that's a good selling point when you're not sitting on top of each other. So,
Was any of that discussed in the planning and zoning meeting? Did you guys talk about the fact that that's R2 and there were going to be smaller lots? And the 2,000 square foot might be too much?
I don't remember that particular conversation coming up. We did talk about what the vision that the planning commission had going forward, and they were pretty concerted in their decision that 2,000 was a good number. You know, some of these houses are going to be two-story houses, I would think. Some of them won't be, but I mean, you're going to have a 10-foot setback on each side, so that's 20-foot total between the two lots. I mean, we've got lots of homes that have got 2,000 plus square foot houses that are in R2. The whole city is full of them.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to second what Shane said, that I just think 1,800 is not unusual, that we need to go with what planning and zoning recommends. You know, all over Diamond Head, and running from it everywhere, between houses and, you know, they are smaller lots, but we're going to lose professionals who we see in the community because we are not going to have what looking for when they're shopping for houses. And we're just going to lose these people.
Okay. Did you have something you wanted to add, Mr. Rich?
Yeah, just one more thing. On a 6,000 square foot lot,
Mm-hmm.
you can have maximum coverage of 45%. So that means you could put 2,700 square foot of housing on there. Now, part of that is the garage. Okay, so
Usually about 400 or 500, depending on the size of your garage.
right. So I just wanted to throw that out.
That would take up the
Visualize.
whole lot. But we will go with it and just hope it looks good.
Okay.
All right.
Beautiful.
Any other discussion?
Good.
City Clerk?
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi, Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. All right, let me see where we are.
Number 12.
Chuck, I did like your 17, I'll have to say. Resolution 2022-308, motion to adopt Resolution 2022-067, thereby abandoning a 5-foot drainage utility easement on each side of common property line between Lot 18 and 19, Diamond Head Phase 1, Unit 7, Block 3. The parcel number is 067G-2-25-018.000. The physical street address is 98178 Golf Club Drive. Motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley, second.
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? City Clerk?
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2022-0-309. Motion to adopt Resolution 2022-068 to create zoning districts and use regulations for medical cannabis facilities, Article 4.21.1, conditions governing permitted uses, Table 4.2, chart to determine uses, other non-residential uses, and medical cannabis cultivation facility note 17 and medical cannabis processing facility note 17, used by right in one and not allowed in other zoning classifications. Medical cannabis dispensary facility note 17 and 18, medical cannabis research facility note 17, and medical cannabis testing facility note 17, used by right in C1 and C2 and not allowed in other zoning classifications. Medical cannabis transportation facility note 17, used by conditional use in one and not allowed in any other zoning classifications. Add note 17. The main point of entry of medical cannabis establishments shall not be located within 1,000 feet of the nearest property line of any school, church, or child care facility. A medical cannabis establishment may receive a waiver to distance restriction by receiving approval from the school, church, or child care facility and by applying for a waiver with its respective licensing agency, provide the main point of entry of the cannabis establishment is not located within 500 feet of the property line boundary of a school, church, or child care facility in accordance with the Mississippi Senate Bill 2095. A business privilege license is required. Add note 18. No medical cannabis dispensary shall be located within 1,500 feet radius from the main point of entry of a dispensary to the main point of entry of another cannabis dispensary in accordance with the Mississippi Senate Bill 2095. Hours of operation are restricted from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. The case file number is 2022-00359. Can I get a motion? Do you need me to repeat it? Can I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Marr. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Finley. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion?
I have some discussion on the use by right in 1 or I. Is that standing for an industrial zoning that we
Yes.
don't have in Diamond Head?
Correct.
Or do we have industrial zoning?
Yes, we do.
We do. And
It's
where would that
located
be?
by the airport runway.
And it's zoned industrial?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So that would be for a cultivation or a
Processing.
processing plant?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Those tend to be, the state law says they can be located in agriculture or industrial. We don't have agricultural. The industrial is the only one we have.
Okay.
Well, learn something new every day.
Any discussion to my right?
Well, if we put a couple of schools on each of the end of the industrial, we would. Anyway, or a church.
Or a
If
daycare.
anybody wants to open one up, I might go in. No, I just wanted to say, I voted against this the whole way. This voting for or against this doesn't help. We've let it in, so this is all about regulating, so whether you vote yes or if you vote no, then you're voting not to regulate it, so basically, yeah, you're gonna hear me say yes for the first time.
So the legislation had 1,000 feet from the radius point of entry from dispensary to dispensary, and we changed to 15.
No, the state was 1,500. We just followed the state on that.
Oh, we didn't change it to like 2,000?
No, we did not.
mirrored
Didn't we
what-
have the option?
You can, but we just mirrored the state law at this point because that was kind of the feedback that we got from everybody that we talked to. We just mirrored the state law. The only thing we added in addition to the state law was the restriction on the hours of operation. Now, there's other restrictions that you guys could put in place in the future, but the main point of this was to get it in the chart of uses and have it on the books. And so that's why we mirrored state law.
Did I see, and I don't know if this was in part of this, but I don't see it in this particular thing, where they couldn't advertise anything but the name of their business? But I don't see it in this here, that it
That's
just had to be
state
their name, and it
legislation.
couldn't be like, a pot plant like on the side as a logo or anything like that.
Yeah,
That's in the bill.
That's state law.
That's
That'll
state law.
govern that.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, City Clerk.
Ooh. Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2022-3011, motion to adopt Resolution 2022-069, thereby authorizing the submittal of an application to the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality for municipal and county water infrastructure grant funding for stormwater infrastructure projects in the amount not to exceed $1,979,561.96, designating the city manager as authorized representative on behalf of the city and for other related purposes. Motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Hannah? Councilman Lisi?
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Consent agenda items 15 through 25. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Finley. City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Action agenda item. Motion for discussion and or possible action regarding parking in medians of cul-de-sacs and parking on the asphalt roadway of cul-de-sacs. I move for discussion. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. So let's start the discussion. We've got very mixed signals out there with the residents on this. So, council, we need legal guidance on this. We've got, some departments issuing warnings and putting warning tickets that others aren't. Parking in the cul-de-sacs and parking on the streets of the cul-de-sacs is not listed in our parking ordinance as prohibited parking, and probably should be, because this eliminates emergency access going to and from. So that's my thoughts on it, but let's hear everybody else's so then we can see.
Is this parking on the circle in the cul-de-sac or anywhere on the cul-de-sac?
Anywhere around the cul-de-sac and on the cul-de-sac. Without a permit and here's my thoughts on it, not to park in the cul-de-sac or the median of the cul-de-sac. And if you need to move in with vehicles or have a party, you have to get a permit so that our police department and AMR knows this cul-de-sac is blocked. So if you have an emergency call, they're going to be delayed because minutes, seconds, somebody's life could depend on that. And right now a resident asked me to go look at something on a cul-de-sac, and I went to look, and I couldn't even see what they were saying. It was stacked that deep with cars. And they look like they're there every day. So, any other discussion to my left?
Yeah, I mean, the fire trucks, they gotta be able to get down there.
That's right.
I mean, I would want them to get to me if I was on a cul-de-sac. Or
Any
my
dis-
parents or
We do
anybody
have an
else.
ordinance about parking on the median, don't we?
We do, but it does allow for temporary,
Right.
but we don't
grass
even
and-
want temporary in cul-de-sacs. Not unless you have a permit.
Okay.
That's my thought, but I mean, whatever you
But
want
the
to add.
cul-de-sac would be considered the median? The grassy area, that's what you're talking about, right?
And the
Area in this-
asphalt roadway of the cul-de-sac,
Okay.
anything within the radius.
Gotcha. Okay.
Councilman Finley?
I agree.
Councilwoman Lisi?
I'm sorry. And so, just to add, I think it's great. Just to add one thing, in my there was an estate sale, and apparently people were sides of the roads, and big trucks, a fire truck couldn't have, an ambulance probably couldn't have, and so maybe we can add something about, if you're having an event at your house with, where you've got to post signs on one side parking on this side so that at least cars are just limited to the one side of the road. This is not for cul-de-sacs. This is just for, we've got to be careful because seconds matter, and if there's emergency vehicles. So I just ask us to please consider adding to address that.
Okay, so Councilwoman Lisi wants to add on top of the other things we discussed that when they get the permit, we have to tell them they have to park on either one side or the other so that the fire truck and AMRs can come through. So, council, what do we need to do to proceed to get this accomplished?
If you look at our ordinance, right now you can only park in the median if you're working at the time, somebody's cutting grass, moving in, doing construction work, and they're limited to 4 hours, and only in situations where there's nowhere else to park. And so parking overnight in the medians, using the medians to park, clearly not allowed. Those persons can be issued citations. With respect to the medians, the cul-de-sacs rather, we do have some cul-de-sacs that have medians in them. That's where those folks that are cutting grass and things like that are going to park. Where you've got those smaller medians where there's no cul-de-sacs where there is no median, we've had situations where folks have just parked their cars right smack in the middle. I mean, clearly the ordinance provides that you're blocking traffic, and anytime you're blocking traffic and you're blocking the ability of emergency vehicles to get in and out, you should be issued a citation. You should be, at the very least a warning, if not a citation. One of the things we may want to do is start making people aware. This would be, in my opinion, a good use of the e-blast to start telling people about parking in the cul-de-sacs. If emergency vehicles can't make that turn, you cannot be regularly parking there.
Can we
can't do it.
update our parking ordinance to add specifically no parking in the cul-de-sacs?
Well, I mean, it's something that you guys could look at. The other thing would be, obviously, signage would be another way to address it. You could add that as one of the places where you're just restricting parking as well, because your ordinance does list other places where you cannot park. You can't park within an intersection, near a fire hydrant, near a crosswalk. You can add that you cannot park in any cul-de-sac unless there's a median and a grass median in there or something of that nature. I think the key is, I think we've got language right now that if you're in a cul-de-sac and an emergency vehicle could not get through, you're blocking traffic. Whether it says specifically the cul-de-sac or not, you could be ticketed.
How are the police going to know, and that's why I want it to be clear, how are they going to know if that car's been there 1 hour or 4 hours? How is that fair to them?
We always have enforcement issues. I mean, and that's
That's why
something,
we want it black and white, change the ordinance, no parking in the cul-de-sacs.
and
So
we've got that
how do we
issue.
start that, get that ball rolling? They need to pull up on a street, pull up on the road out the way.
Don't we have a problem that if they do park there, we have to find the driver? And that's where the problem comes in?
Enforcement, you typically, when you're issuing a citation for a parking violation, you're giving it to the owner of the vehicle. So you don't have to know who's driving it, you're giving
Okay.
it to the owner of the vehicle. So that's how that works.
And I think our ordinance clearly states that
Mhm.
it will be put on the car, that it is acceptable for them to put the violation on the car. Can we do we need a motion to move to authorize moving on, no parking on the cul-de-sacs?
If that's the direction y'all want to go. Otherwise, like I said, we can just, I can have a meeting with the police chief and we can talk about that issue where if there is somebody blocking, we'd like to see some citations issued.
I like the ordinance, even though I live on a cul-de-sac, and it's gonna be annoying when I do have people over, but I think it's a good, valid ordinance, but I'm really worried more so about enforcement. And I don't think the police have the manpower to be enforcing something like this, because basically on any given shift, there's more serious things they're gonna be working on. Is there any way we can have, like, other people, anybody in the city authorized to give an ordinance to a vehicle that happens to be working, whether they're cleaning a ditch or whether they're code enforcement for a building or anything like that, that they can issue a citation of just a warning that goes on the records, and then it gets them on notice so that when somebody, they can't say they weren't warned.
In many instances, what code enforcement is doing is they'll either knock on the doors or put a door hanger on the vehicle and say, hey, and it seems to solve it in many instances. As you all know, I mean, some people are going to they're going to break the law, But I would say the only other option would be code enforcement. But then again, do you want code enforcement issuing those types of citations? I mean, I don't know.
I think they're busy. I know I send Ty something every day. I do. But that's why I would rather have it in the ordinance so that everybody knows it's in the ordinance and we're not bothering the police and having them, it's in the ordinance. You can't do it, and people are less likely to do it if it's spelt out in the ordinance. Right now, it's so gray. It's like I can just do whatever because I'm only going to be here 4 hours. It needs to be 0 parking within the radius. So how do we get that done?
You would.
I'm not a fan of, I wouldn't be a fan of, like, city employees going around telling people. I mean, that can get kind of, personal with somebody coming and telling you, hey, you can't park there or something like that. It just needs to be somebody with code enforcement or something like that would be the lowest. Not, I don't want just whoever's out there digging ditches or whatever go over and say, hey, you can't park there. And
No.
kind of, I don't need that confrontation between residents and employees or whoever.
This may not be the appropriate time to bring it up, but the other thing that is really problematic is that we have language in the ordinance about getting a permit from the city manager about parking during events and things like that. I mean, how many people know that's even an option? And who's really doing it? I mean, is anybody coming to you for parking permits at special occasions or anything like that? I mean, yeah,
Diamond Head has 4 parties a year.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. So we
gosh,
could
that's
certainly
funny.
take a look at it if that's language that you would like to specifically put in the ordinance.
Can you put it on the next agenda the way we need to word it?
I will.
And it just says no parking in the radius of the cul-de-sac or the median without a permit so that the police know and we can let AMR know that you're not getting in that day. And then Councilman Lisi wants to say that when they get that permit, we have to tell them which side or let them know that all the cars need to be on one side, not blocking both, because then they can't fit down the street. Okay. Are we all good?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, I mean, certainly, the people who are doing it are consistently doing it. I think once they're notified, we're gonna greatly reduce the number of things, but if they don't know, if we don't tell them they can't park there, they're gonna continue to park there. I've lived on the cul-de-sac where people park their boat at the end of the cul-de-sac
They
as if
do.
it's their own personal storage area. So I think once they're notified, I don't think we have serial cul-de-sac parkers
I think you're right.
until they're notified.
Yeah, and we've had this issue before come up in certain neighborhoods where there was just rampant parking in the medians, for example, and the police went and just started issuing warnings, and people, they didn't know, and suddenly it stopped. So some of that is on the enforcement side, and I think we've got enough in the ordinance right now. If you're in the cul-de-sac and clearly an ambulance or a fire truck can't turn, you should be issued a warning right now, whether the ordinance is changed or not.
Okay. So we're good with what we need to add on the next agenda? Okay. Action agenda item 2022-299, motion to authorize the administration to submit an application and work with the United States Army Donations Program to request 2 cannons to be located at City Hall and Veteran Park with the total that should be cost for both not to exceed $1,000 each. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Cumberland. Could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Clark. And I have Mr. Harold Darley here. Would you come up, Mr. Harold? So this was his idea, and I wanted to let him, this is his vision for Diamond Head. He actually was very instrumental in getting us the bandstand. So let's hear about your thoughts on this.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilman. Let me begin by pointing out that you probably realize Diamond Head has a large number of veterans. And many cities are proud of their veterans, and they have monuments and other ways of recognizing and showing their appreciation. Here in Diamond Head, we have 2 main ways of doing it. One is the bandstand, which is behind us, and as the mayor pointed out, I had the pleasure of being the chairman of the committee overseeing that. The other one is Veterans Memorial Park. The interesting thing about both the bandstand and Veterans Memorial Park is I think both of them, the expenses were handled by volunteers. Now, if someone knows other than that, I'm open to hearing it. But my impression is, because I actually donated money and I went there today and I saw a brick at the park with my name in it. So we don't know the cost of the 2 howitzers that are coming. It depends on, the only cost we're going to experience is the shipping cost, but we don't know what that is because we don't know what cannon has been selected. And if it's a big cannon, it's going to weigh more and it's going to be more costly to ship. The question at hand, at least my understanding, is who's going to pay the cost for the howitzers. One howitzer would go in the Veterans Memorial Park and one would go by the bandstand behind us. And what I'm recommending is that we follow the example that we did with the bandstand, the Veterans Memorial Bandstand. We asked for volunteers to pay the cost of that bandstand. It was around $15,000. And we got volunteers very quickly. And I think with the Veterans Memorial Park, they did the same thing because I volunteered money. It's a number of years ago, but I went there today and I had forgotten there's a brick with my name on it. So I think the issue that you all need to decide is who's going to pay the cost of having these 2 howitzers delivered. And not only are they need to be the delivery costs, but there's site improvement that will have to be done. I would assume you'd want to put a concrete pad down and put steel in it and have something sticking up so that you could secure the cannon to the steel so it couldn't be stolen. The Army maintains ownership of the cannons. They're here and in their other cities on loan. Some cities have tanks. All of that military items are on loan. So the issue is who is going, at least as I understand it at this point, who is going to pay the cost? Now, I did some figuring today, and I think the cost could be as high as $10,000 because you got to figure the site improvement. You just can't stick the cannon in, on the lawn or on the grass. So my recommendation is that if it worked for Veterans Memorial Park, and I know it worked for the Veterans Memorial Bandstand behind us, I would recommend that the council vote to allow volunteers to pay for it, members of Diamond Head, residents, to pay for that.
And we can work on that. So the $1,000 that's on, we have $1,000 tonight not to exceed for the cannons, which I thought that covered the cannons on the grant form and had $1,000 each.
$1,000?
It didn't have it on the grants form, $1,000? Yeah, it does. So if there's more costs associated, then I guess we're going to be baking some cookies.
The cost depends on the cannon that is selected. If you select a small one that doesn't weigh that much, it'll be less. A big one, that's heavier.
So should we review what we can get and then worry about the fundraising on what'll, we need to even see if we can even get
Well,
one.
then you got site improvement. A concrete pad will have to go down.
Is it difficult to get these cannons?
I don't think so.
Okay. And I know you're military and you were going to work with our city manager because to help him. He's doing the application, but any input you could share.
Okay, have you selected a cannon yet?
You haven't even reached out. No. He's,
Okay.
yeah, he's got to wait for it to get approved to see if we can even get them.
So as I said, my recommendation is that we do what we did with, what they did with the Veterans Memorial Park and with the bandstand behind us.
Is
to,
get volunteers. I think that's a
volunteers.
brilliant idea.
It's their way of expressing their appreciation to the veterans who served our country.
And it would be an honor to drive past that or walk past that every day as a reminder.
It would.
Yes, it would. Well, thank you, and thank you for the brilliant suggestion of bringing this forward to us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? City Clerk?
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Count.
Cumberland.
Yes.
Clark, Marr.
Yes.
Yes. Action Agenda Item 2022-300, motion for discussion and possible action regarding drainage on Amoka, Kaliki Way, and Aiki Drive. I move for discussion. Can I get a second? Second by Councilman Finley. So, Amoka, Kaliki Way, and Aiki. Last month, and I'm sure everybody saw it on Facebook, it was probably the only street, Amoka, that went underwater. So, that same area, and I know we have the city engineer here, you know the area that I'm talking about with the two homes, it was almost in their homes again. Kaliki, the same way, July 5th, 2021, we had homes flooded on Kaliki. This last month, it wasn't even a big rainstorm. We have not had that major of a rainstorm. Street was underwater again, going in people's homes. We've been working on this for I want to say 2 years. It's to a point we have got to do something. This area is very critical. I know this is Councilman Finley's area. It is very critical because a month ago with a small rain, we saw it on Facebook, it was almost in those two homes again. And I think, Ben, if you look at the home that's on the corner that we looked at, that subsurface drainage is probably where we need to start. So, and also we had a culvert that we were going to replace. Where are we with that one?
We've issued the letter to the homeowner requiring them to remove the culvert.
Oh, okay.
Waiting for the time frame on that so we can move forward.
Okay, okay.
Do
So,
we know how much time is left currently?
I could not say
Yes.
right off. 14?
oh, that's around the corner.
I knew it was coming close.
So the 14th, you already issued a letter before, and the 30 days was up. We issued another letter, and they have till the 14th to remove it. The second.
This is the letter, no second letter.
Oh, I thought we already issued one. I have an email saying that. We did. And we issued it, because I've been on this street. I'm like all over this drainage. So when do we see relief for these people, and what is the action, and where are we going? Because they are we're gonna have homes flooding. Ben, do you know? Yes, come up, city engineer, Mr. Ben Benvenuti, come up here. And also, we've got, which correlates with this, Diamond Head Drive North, we've got that ditch that I showed you that's going in beside Miss Vicky's house that's sitting here. All of this goes to Aiki, under Kaliki, and Amoka. This whole area it floods in a light rain. This was the only one I saw last month that was underwater, and I physically went out there and looked. Kaliki was completely underwater. So it's backing up. When it starts to back up, it can't get out of Amoka, which is a very major outfall. We see the two pipes running under the street, the ditch. It was flowing out fine when I saw it.
Right, between Kaliki Place and Amoka.
Yes,
is
it
what
was
we're close.
flowing out beautiful once it got to that point, but it's not getting there. So when it stopped up at Kaliki Place and Amoka, it backs it up all the way to past Miss Vicky's house on North. And once it backs up at that point, it is flooding all the streets and all those homes. Where are we with this?
So this is in drain area 55 and 56 that we're modeling.
Right.
But also I have our survey crew going out there and taking the shots where we cross at, and I think I said that wrong, Kaliki Court and Kaliki Place. In between those streets is where we cross Amoka. And then we're going back and tracing that ditch and any cross culverts up Kaliki and up Aiki to identify. I think we have plenty of fall in the area, so it's either undersized pipes, stopped up pipes. There's something restricting flow through that area.
It's the subsurface at the corner house there
The
of
one we looked
Aiki
at.
Court.
And if we can camera that, that would
Mhm.
help as well. So I'll get with you.
And Aiki, where we looked at, where it's got the big hole in the road, the
Yes.
red clay was just pouring up when it was raining that bad. So I can tell there's water under it. It was coming out. It was like,
Yeah,
we
I don't
need to
think there's any
find.
base there.
No, I'm waiting for that to fall in completely. So when are we looking at seeing relief for these people? Because they've waited 2 years, they're tired of hearing, it's coming, and it's to a point now, a slight rain, and they're flooding. So, where are we with this?
You asking me?
I'm asking anybody at this
So
point,
one-
audience, we need
once we get the
relief.
once we get the survey data, and if we can, I know you'd mentioned that culvert's been cleaned before. So
Mhm.
if we get the size and make sure it's either flow's either restricted in that culvert or it's too small, and then once we get the survey data in, we should have that in the next 2 weeks. Then we will be able to look at it and figure out, at least a recommendation.
And that's probably something Public Works can handle once we figure out the recommendation.
And it may be lower in that pipe. It may be lower in that pipe crossing Amoka. And there's enough fall to get that water. I mean, we can increase flow across Amoka by increasing the slope of that pipe.
It's not getting to that pipe, though.
Okay.
It's going across the street, and it's going into the garage of the first home that's sitting
Where they
way
have
below
another
the
catch
street.
basin.
Then it's running down that side of the street. It actually crosses Amoka because it can't get out and runs down the side.
And it crosses right there where we have that open ditch that goes underneath Kaliki Court, right?
Right.
So
Landscape culvert,
Yes, it is. I mean, I feel we can get relief getting that one up, replacing the culvert that's on Amoka. But we have serious problems in this area.
we will make that a priority.
Well, we thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
And so does the residents living there, because this is one that they're gonna flood. It's
Right.
not a question of if, it's a question of when, and we're not far off from seeing it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, on the culvert, can y'all let me know when that letter, somebody send me an email? Thank you. Motion under action agenda item 2022-304, motion for discussion of use of City Hall gazebo for monthly music venue. Could I get a motion for discussion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Marr. Could I get a second? Second by Councilman Clark. Let's begin discussion with Councilman Marr.
Okay, so we are doing lots of things with the city to make it more attractive for people who live here, to make it more of a place where people want to enjoy. So I was thinking, we have this beautiful gazebo here, City Hall, that we use maybe at the moment 3 or 4 times a year for events, like maybe the Casa event, maybe Cruising the Coast. I was saying, why don't we use it more often? Why don't we do something once a month? Bay St. Louis has Second Saturday. We have this gazebo every month. Why not do a monthly thing? And I put this out as an idea on Facebook, and I got like 60 or 70 people saying comments about how they would love that. And, then they all had problems with what day, though, because it could be
Ooh, that's
a
always-
Friday night, a Saturday, or a Sunday. And if you pick any one day, somebody will have a reason not to pick that day. And it's true because, some people say, well, Friday nights are no good because you're taking it away from commercial establishments. And that's a fair thing. Or for ball games. people will say, Saturdays, they want to do things and get things done and they don't want to miss out. Churches on Sundays, people don't want to have something going on there where they want their family coming together at their house after church. I understand all these things, but I still think there's room for a 3-hour musical thing sometime on the weekend, once a month. And I think to start it off small. Let's just ask for like open mic where musicians want to come and show their talent to the public, and we don't even have to pay for musicians the first few times, and just to get it going and see what the crowd response is. They can bring picnics, they can bring, all the city would have to contribute is maybe the collection of trash that might, accumulate from an event like this, and clean up after the fact, and supplying the electric for the instruments. So I wanted to hear what our council members thought about this idea, and if they had any suggestions, because the more minds that look at it, the better it is.
But how many of our restaurants right now have open mic or karaoke right now?
As far as I know, almost everyone has karaoke, but on the weekends, it's usually at night. I'm proposing in the afternoon, and Lazy Gator used to have it every Friday night, and now it's down to once a month for the open mic.
Cafe Brune does it on, what is it? That's all they do it on Wednesday nights or something?
On the night, again, I'm talking about like a daytime thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
You're talking about when it's like 100 degrees out there?
I'm talking year round, so people come.
You're gonna,
But yeah, I don't want to in any way affect or damage our commercial businesses, because we want them to make money. But I also want to have an event that would be a gathering place for Diamond Head people.
All right.
You have to be able to get everybody
No,
on board at one time. So maybe they can make it this month, or maybe next month, or something like that. I'm all for it, man. It's cool.
Okay, any discussion to my right?
I think 5 to 7 people can still go out to eat after that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's-
gonna be in just a month or coming right up. It's gonna be dark at 5, but something, when it's nice and even, I'm not against it at all.
And let me just add, if any of you have ever gone over to the trailheads for the Louisiana, like, at Mandeville or in Covington and all like that, where they have, like, where the trains used to be, and now they have it as a walkway, but they have these grassy areas where the train stop used to be, and they have the cities putting on these musical events, and people just, I couldn't believe how early it was on a Saturday. It was from 11 to 1. I'm thinking, who's going to be there? And the place was crowded with people and families coming with their blankets and all, and just listening to the music for 2 hours.
If
So-
you have it, they will come.
If you have it, they will come. So I said, we can do this in Diamond Head. We're a city that's trying to be for the people, and I think this is a good venue for
I
the
think
people.
it's a very good idea. I would like to see us too. I know I've mentioned it to the city manager, is movie nights. I think we need movie nights. You bring your golf cart up here, and
That'd be cool.
Gerard will have a movie going on the
Giant
back of
sheet.
City Hall. So let's do movie nights, and let's work on it. I'm all in it. Let's do it.
I think it's a wonderful idea, and would it be appropriate, Mayor, to maybe have the steering committee, like you did for the dog park, and get some citizen input and have
That's a great
players
idea.
help organize it?
We can. So we can do that. You want to add that on the next agenda, to have a steering committee for the monthly music venue?
Sure.
And get a few folks helping you, and it makes many hands make
Many
light work.
hands.
Yes.
Get some musicians, get some
Mm-hmm.
tech people for movies.
Mm-hmm. I'll be movies.
Get some
Okay, this
popcorn
is good.
people.
All right, is that all discussion on that? Moving along to claims payable. Could I get a motion to approve the docket of claims DKT 159939, DKT 159982 in the amount of $226,449.47? Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
And
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Is there any further business of the City Council?
We do have one topic for executive session. I hate to say it, but it's Melissa's fault. It's potential litigation that we have talked about before, and if we do vote to go in, I'll make the announcement on what it's about.
So I move to go into closed session to discuss the possibility, wait, I move to go in executive session to talk about the possibility of going to closed session. Could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Clark. City Clark. Let's go with Clark. City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,